Hello everybody and welcome back to a special episode of In the Driver's Seat with dubizzle. On this episode we have a very special guest and I'm going to be asking him one question. How does one question get you from a small following to one of the biggest followings on the planet? Ayman Yaman, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to share with you how this all happened with only one question, as you said.
It's incredible. If you watch his content, all he does, well, I'm not going to say all he does, probably that's the wrong thing, because you do a lot of things. But if you watch his content, the main question he asks everybody is, hey bro, what do you do for a living?
Yes.
And you've basically skyrocketed. Where did this all start?
So it started all 3 years ago, 3 years and a half. So I was at a random car event, and before all of that, I used to do food content. So all my content was strictly food. So I went to a random car event right beside my house. And at the car event, there's a lot of also famous YouTubers there. I don't know how they let me in. They're like, oh yeah, come inside, whatever. So I was filming with one famous YouTuber. I can mention his name if you want to know who is he. With Mo Vlogs, if you know him.
Yep.
So, and I did something with him, but then he was like, hey man, why don't you ask these nice cars what they do for a living? I was like, yeah, I should do that. So I did that, and the video just went crazy viral. Crazy viral. You cannot imagine. People loved it.
And all it started off was just a simple question. Hey, what do you do for a living? And of course, you can see Ayman's progression from what you said 3 years ago. You skyrocketed to millions of views and followers. It's absolutely incredible. But before we started, we were talking about something interesting on how you kind of expanded on your reach, because you're not only doing just cars. I mean, you told me that you started with food-related subjects. Now you've moved into cars, but it's not it. You also do sport-related stuff as well now.
So, when you first start your journey, you don't really know what's the end goal, what's gonna happen. You just start, and it just takes you. So I started food. I was very consistent. I grew up good following of food in the UAE. And then when I started cars, I also was super consistent. That's what's the trick. Consistency is everything. I was consistent with it, and especially here in Dubai, like a lot of interesting people come from celebrities, influencers, crazy cars that you cannot access it anywhere in this small city. It's just right here in front of you. So yeah, I just basically went consistency, and now with even sports, I do boxing and all of that. So it just took me, the journey just of life just takes you. You never know where you're gonna end up.
Fair enough. Now, what's the next step? You know, you've covered quite a fair bit. Food, sports, cars. What else is in the pipeline for Ayman Yaman here?
If I tell you, it won't be a surprise.
Fair enough. All right, you got me there. Okay, fair enough. What about a little clue, maybe a little hint?
The next step is gonna go into more in a business-oriented side, because okay, for social media, I've done it. Now it's gonna be more of launching the new product. You know, that's the trend for all influencers. If you've seen, they're launching their own merch, for example, not clothing line, or beverage, or chocolate. So that's going crazy famous. Logan Paul, his own drink, Prime. Mr. Beast, his own chocolate, Feastables. So that's the vibe. That's a hint for the future.
So we can look forward to a edible chocolate that you can drink. That's what my guess is. I think that might be a bit difficult too, especially here. Imagine wearing a chocolate shirt. You walk outside, it just melts away. How awkward and sticky would that be? What's the coolest car that you have had the chance to ask someone what they do for a living and what they drive?
Okay, I'll tell you the coolest car and the most expensive car. Because for me, it's only opinions. So I've asked a Bugatti Chiron Pura Sport. That was like $4 million. So, okay, there's that. Crazy car, very expensive, very nice. But it's the most unique car, I should say. And I did one Lycan. That's also like crazy expensive. We did Paganis. Got a lot of Paganis with. Most unique car. Okay, I want to answer this in a really nice way.
Because obviously there are a lot of people out there that have a lot of money to spend on cars, and they might want something a bit more unique. You know, there are some really wild supercars or hypercars that not many people know even exist. There's maybe like 5 of them in the entire world. I know from time to time you see them from here. You see them around, and then you're thinking, is that really a Ferrari? Is that really a Lamborghini? Or is that something different?
You know, one really interesting guy I met the other day, he had a super unique car. And this car was basically, he built it himself. He has a bunch of cars, garage. So he got parts from McLaren, Lamborghini, Ferrari, and Rolls-Royce. he merged them all into one car, and this car looked crazy. We couldn't film it, unfortunately, but this car was something else.
Sounds like a Frankenstein of a lot of luxury brands coming together.
Yeah, he basically, he has a garage. He has like 5, 6 cars already, all supercars. He was like, boom, he just wants to make this crazy car.
Well, that's pretty incredible. So have you thought about what the weirdest one that you've seen is? Or not weirdest one, the most interesting, I think I used the word was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That one.
That one for sure?
That one
Okay,
was
cool.
interesting.
It'll be great to see it, but like you said, the owner didn't want to show too much about
Oh,
it.
and there's another one, a Scooby-Doo car.
Okay.
Some super rich guy just did Scooby-Doo car for him.
Is that the van, right?
The van, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow, that's really cool. And did you see that here?
Yeah, here. I even filmed it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's that based off of? I've got to think about that. But Ayman, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to have your insight on how you've grown in popularity and how it all started. But I do have a question. So you said that you did it at the event. What made you ask them that question in particular?
What do you do for a living?
Yeah.
So to be honest, this trend started in the United States. It started 1 week there. The next week I did it here. And of course I talked to the guy who started it. I was like, listen, I'm going to do this, out of respect, because he started it. When I did it here, the amount of, I didn't expect it to be this big and this exciting, but the amount of people that loved it, because, here in the UAE, people don't usually like, the camera, it's all private and all of that. When they saw me do it, everyone was supportive. They're like, yeah, we want to know more. Like, how did these rich people made it? How did they open these companies? How did they become this successful, You're wondering, like, someone's driving a Bugatti. It's cost like $5 million. $5 million. How do you have the money to buy this car? It's just a car. We can buy another car, like, for example, a normal Nissan or a Toyota that costs like $20,000 or even $15,000, does the same job. So how are you driving this and this guy's driving that? What's the secret?
And that's how it all began.
Yeah,
That's a
so
simple question.
curiosity,
Fair enough. Well, Ayman, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been a pleasure to have you here in the hub. I can't believe it took you this long to come down here as well. But thank you so much. It's been so insightful, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much, guys, and follow, like, subscribe. Don't forget.